Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen, taking a look at what appears to be details on the Anvil Arrow that Polygon may have accidentally leaked, and a summary of calling all devs going over inherited momentum, solar system creation speed, and telemetry data. So, a Polygon article has come to my attention, and Polygon seems to have released information on what the Anvil Arrow is, probably through some form of miscommunication or accident. So they've posted up basically the same data that's on the Star Citizen anniversary sales sort of page explaining what's happening on the different days. But rather than being redacted, where it talks about the Anvil Arrow, it actually says an agile fighter that packs a huge punch, a speedy glass cannon. Now, that's interesting because I haven't been able to see any other information about it anywhere else. It's possible that CIG gave a press release to them and said, release it when it's closer to the sale time or something like that, or didn't redact it correctly. Don't really know. But for those comparing that to the Hurricane is actually a two-person heavy fighter that is fast rather than agile. I'm expecting this to be a light fighter, the Anvil Arrow, and maybe it has strong missiles, or maybe a single large powerful gun or something like that. It's likely that it's going to be used for Squadron 42, so expect something military-focused. And that's one of the reasons it's probably flyable in 3.35 and during that free flight period for the anniversary sale from the 23rd of November onwards. It is quite possible that we will see more ships go on sale during the anniversary sale that haven't been seen before, especially with in the future things like Squadron 42 ships, whether they be alien or human ships or UE ships or whatever. If they're flyable and needed for Squadron 42, they're likely to come out as flyable rather than an on concept, if you see what I mean. So they'll go, and this ship is ready. We haven't announced it before, but here it is. It goes on sale. And so that will happen sometimes. Obviously, sometimes they're still going to have their concept sales. And I almost see these sort of like Squadron 42 and flyable now ships, the surprise ships that are ready, as an addition to that. I suspect they'll still see a concept ship appear during that anniversary sale and celebration. Calling all devs. So Calling all devs went over some interesting information. The Calling all devs in question was called Solar System Scrutiny. They started off by talking about inherited momentum. Players used to be static when they jumped out of a spaceship. Basically, they didn't inherit the speed or momentum of the ship they jumped out of. However, in 3.3.5, they can pass physics grid information between grids. Players should now correctly inherit momentum from a ship they leave. If this isn't working, then it's a bug and should be reported. Objects in the future will also be able to inherit momentum too, I believe. With quantum travel, they're still working out what they want to happen exactly, though I would expect that if anything doesn't have a quantum drive to propel it, that it will slow down rather than just constantly going at that speed, because if you turn off your quantum drive, you actually come out of quantum. That makes sense, right? But maybe if you were a human jumping out of a ship at quantum travel, you just explode, because, you probably would. They talked relatively in depth about solar system creation speeds and the tools they use to build them. When they've built previous locations before, they've been quite bare bones, and first implementations of locations and systems and planets and things are pretty bare bones to start with, and they add to them. Lorville will be the first proper gold standard landing zone they have in the persistent universe. They have a developed pipeline and standard for ships already, which is why they are now over 80 flyable ships, and they're able to create ships significantly quicker. The planetary and location pipeline has been getting more and more attention and more efficient. Star Citizen will eventually have 100 systems at some stage, and they don't want it to be 100 years in development. So a lot of the past 2 years for them have been about developing their tech for procedural systems, missions, locations, tools, getting all of that structured correctly. And they've also restructured their teams, so their dev teams, to work on different aspects of the game. So a team working on hangars, a team working on rest stops, a group of people working on procedural tech, one working on underground facility missions. This allows them to put much more sort of like a focus on certain tasks for certain teams, while also having devs much more on the same page about the larger picture and what the larger group is also working towards. And they don't have to keep on moving between disciplines. They'll have multiple disciplines within a single focused strike team that is working on a particular task. Common elements are something that has seen a lot of focus and will continue to. These are things like hangars, transit systems, props, buildings, assets that can all be reused in a lot of locations, sometimes with added variants or unique assets added to them, or different color palettes or shaders or decals that then make them look incredibly different, but they can use them to build out huge sections of the game. The hangars they've built for Lorville can be plugged into any other landing zone that they want, and then they can add some higher tech parts or more industrial parts to their catalogue to give it a more unique look. The modular space stations can be reused in a number of ways. They have all the metrics of how all of these sort of like things need to plug together, and this allows them to do stuff significantly quicker. They can then skin these assets to look entirely different very quickly, or to be fit for purpose in any given situation. When they move on to Terra, they can make and update their common elements for this zone. Then they can generate and build out the Terra cities and landing zones there on the planet incredibly quickly. Yes, they might need some hero assets, but a large portion of the city will be made out of common elements once they built the set for them. Pyro is a quick system for them to build out, for example, because it's not very populated. Terra takes them a bit more time, as there's a lot of population, cities, landing zones, and hero assets there. This doesn't mean there's going to be any form of like huge repetition that is noticeable. The style of the assets should fit the theme of the location or area, and a lot of base assets, yes, they come from a common set before being varied or recolored appropriately. Their various teams that are working on various projects do have backlogs, and when they're not working on a priority task that's needed for the short term of the project, they go through their backlog, and things in their backlogs are sort of like ship-to-station docking, the hull C sort of like physics grid, multi-grid physics tech to allow the hull C to compress, things like that, cargo 2.0, all that sort of jazz. Every new star system and location they make, every ship they make, gets them more and more efficient and adds more elements, more tools, more assets that they can work with. Basically, it enables them to make the game a lot quicker. Telemetry data. So they used to come up with recommended and minimum specs to help show players what hardware they required to play Star Citizen at any given time. Now they give players access to some of their telemetry data. At the moment, the telemetry stuff shows players sort of like where their machine lies on the hierarchy of other machines and frame rates, what sort of average frame rate you're getting, what sort of performance that hits. It also has a heat map of other players' average systems and frame rates too. So you can see, oh, someone with a GeForce 2080 is getting this sort of frame rate when mixed with this processor, and some people are getting this sort of frame rate. Now, it's not perfect. That telemetry data is flawed. It doesn't give us resolution breakdowns. It doesn't give us all the filters we need to make really great decisions, but it's at least something. And players can discern, to some extent, what hardware is appropriate for Star Citizen and how performance has changed between patches at the very least. I'm hoping they give us more and more data with that telemetry and more filters. I want to be able to filter for frame rates and resolutions and see actual individual PCs within sets of data so that I can see outliers and that sort of stuff, because there's going to be a huge range of data here, and some people's systems are going to be set up very poorly, some people's systems are going to be set up incredibly well, some people's systems are going to have SLI cards and things like that, and it's important to discern the differences between them and then work out. There's going to be lots of other stuff going on here that isn't just hardware based. They will also be adding some server data to this eventually, so we'll be able to see server stability and bits like that. But the more data they give us and the more filters for that data they give us, the better, in my opinion. But tell me what you think in the comments below. What do you think of the Arrow? Do you think that's actually a proper description of the ship and that Polygon have somehow accidentally leaked it or come out with it slightly too early, something like that? If you don't have Star Citizen yet, be sure to create an account with the links below to receive 5,000 UEC, the in-game currency, as a bonus, and to participate in any free flight. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For November, I am giving away a Saber Raven, Star Citizen game package, and a CitizenCon 2948 digital goodies pack. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details below. If you would like to further support the channel, the links to my Patreon and donations are down in the description below as well. If you are considering getting or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or any other game for that matter, instead consider the Shadow Cloud gaming service. It's a subscription-based service that leverages your internet connection to turn any appropriate device, whether it be an old PC, smartphone, tablet, and more, into a powerful Windows 10 gaming PC. It's been working well in the latest 3.3.0 PTU patch of Star Citizen. I'm going to try and maintain a best practices guide on my website as well. More information is available in the links below, and if you do decide to try it, use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the verse.